Huh. Either these pillagers are practicing their latest dance routine, or they are really scared of wheat. Hello there, and welcome back to AlphaCraft. I'm out here taking my bunnies for a boat ride, as one does, and thought maybe it was time to check in on what's been going on. Now, many ago, there was a tree contest, and you know what? I actually managed to win. Who'd have thunk it? Certainly not me, but it's true. The judges, and it should go without saying, none of whom were bribed in any way, shape, or form. I mean, no matter what you heard, all allegations were cleared. It was all lies. Lies, I tell you, lies! I won fair and square! But seriously, many thanks to Marky Sparky for running the competition, and thanks to the judges for awarding my tree first prize. Definitely unexpected, but appreciated. Now let's take a look at what goodies we won. We have a mending book, a baby Yoda head, shulker shells, tokens for the wool shop, a stack of iron, gold blocks, more shells, an AlphaCraft logo map. Yeah, I peeked later on. And another mending book, trial keys, yummy nom-noms, diamond ore, diamond blocks, glowy food, more nom-noms. More keys, more iron, more shells, token for the iron shop, even more iron, a conduit, redstone, a beacon, and more iron goodies. I think it's safe to say, an amazing prize. You be sure to check out Marky's video where he shows all the trees in a contest, and you can decide which one you think should have won for yourself. Well, hello there. We're back at the base, and I thought I might actually show some of it. It's been kind of a running gag that I don't actually show my base on AlphaCraft, as I've been focused more on fun and pranking and helping out than on putting any real effort into building a base. I honestly have a hard time coming up with builds for the base, as in a very real sense, the base is just where I store my stuff. And there's always been this idea in the back of my head that nearly every YouTuber focuses all their attention on their base, so let's try and find something else to show in the videos. And, you know, this year's been hitting me kind of hard, and if you watched the last video I made, then you know. So my focus has been all over the place anyway, on top of all that. But let's set that aside for today and take a look around. Now, obviously, this is my main house and storage area. This is about as efficient of a space as I can work with, and I rarely run into space issues. The entire thinking behind this is keep all the similar items in one general chest instead of a chest for each item. So cobble has all the cobble. Stone brick, all the variations of stone brick. Wall, stairs, mossy, cracked. It's all in there. If I need more than 54 slots, then the bulk storage goes into a shulker, which makes it easier to build in projects anyway, to already have your items in shulkers when you need them. Other than that, nothing all that special here. I mean, I used some packed ice in the walls to give the illusion that I could see outside, but beyond that, it's where I sleep, where I store stuff, and that's it. Over here we have my little buddy boy named Buddy Boy, 'cause why not? I made him a little doghouse with a pot in the ground and carpet over it to give the idea of a food bowl. Now, at the beginning of the season, I placed my house at the bottom of a steep hill, so I tried to work with the terrain and do a bit of a switchback pathing cut into the side of the hill to get up to the top. Along the way, we have my enchanting area with all my backup gear. What can I say? I'm a hoarder and I love doing end raids. Aside from my first set, I don't think I used diamonds for armor or tools, and the rest I just collected as I was hunting for elytras. I mean, there's a lot. I'm set for life. Across the way, we have the potion room with musical flooring. Now, I don't know about you, but I always try and find a way to have some build where I can run around and make music with the amethyst blocks. Now, I could have used carpet here instead of trapdoors, but I just like the look of the trapdoors as a floor block. And of course, this contains my super massive, gigantic netherwart farm. But seriously, I rarely find I need more than this. I mean, once you get past the first stack, the rest always seems to end up in storage somewhere, never to be touched again. Further up the hill, we have the obligatory sugarcane and bamboo farms. Nothing all that exciting about the farms themselves, just some basic, small farms to provide me with enough materials to do whatever I want. You know, I'm not a big believer in making the oversized, look what I can do farms, when something small and a bit of AFKing will get me everything I need. The bamboo farm is just a double-sided observer piston design with a minecart for collection, and the sugarcane farm is just as basic in design but has 8 rows of pistons and observers to keep up with all my rocket usage. And the farms are built with the idea of working with the terrain. If there's not enough room on the hillside, then it goes in the hill. I tried to stick with the same general block palette with everything, using the mangrove, jungle, and deep slate base, and just tweak it for differences from structure to structure. Like this roof uses brick, and this one here uses polished, and the enchanting hut uses cobble, and that thing over there, yeah, just ignore that for now. Further up the hill, we have some of the micro farms I made for the shops in Richmart. And you know, it occurs to me, I don't think I ever showed off those shops either. Huh. Well, we'll visit Richmart later and show them on camera, but here we have the glow lichen farm. It's pretty easy setup. You get your shears in hand. One sec. Open the trap door to turn it on and starts gathering lichen. As far as how it works, let's go into free cam so we can take a look behind the scenes. You can see there's a sticky piston with an observer on top. When the lever is turned on, the piston pushes the observer up and turns on an observer clock, which powers the dispensers, which are full of bone meal. And these two farms over here use the same basic idea. This one is for hanging roots, and this one here is for the new hanging moss from the 121.4 update. Then over here I've broken from the block palette to make a sea pickle farm. It's a manual farm, but how many sea pickles do you really need? I mean, me, not so many. I just keep it simple. I'm not sure how I feel about the design of the shop front. It broke from the block palette, and I'll probably change it. There's nothing wrong with the design. It just clashes too much with the farms right next to it. Oh, hi. Just taking the horsies out for a ride. You know, they heard about the bunnies and wouldn't stop pestering me about it, so here we are. Give me a moment and I'll meet up with you in front of Richmart. Oh, there you are. We haven't got the camera set up properly, so just give us a sec, okay? Okay. Now, I know this next part happened a long time ago, but life has been busy, so just go along with the bit for now, okay? Thank you. A darkness has fallen on the AlphaCraft server, my friends. There is a plague festering just beneath the surface, seeping into every empty space and growing out of control. That's right, chest fungus has infected the server and filled the AlphaCrafters' chests with nasty, stinking fungi. Will no one save us? Oh, well, glad you asked, because this is your lucky day! Do you have fungus touching all the goodies you thought were safely stored away? Then come right on down to the Grungy Fungy pop-up shop, where I just so happen to be selling a miracle cure for any and all chest fungus that you may encounter. No more will your items smell vaguely of cheese. No more will you have to deal with the nightmare of stinky stone blocks. Why, for just $1 per bottle, you can have all the peace of mind that comes from clean, fungus-free chests. A bargain at any price. Stop on in today. Located right in front of Richmart. Now, who would vandalize a well-respected business like this? Shameful. Just shameful. Random vandalization aside, we're back at the Grungy Fungy pop-up shop to check on sales and address allegations that the remedy isn't remedying. Is that a word? It isn't remedying anything. And all I can say about that is you have to carefully follow the instructions contained in the instruction manuals to get the proper results. Improper use could negate any usefulness the remedies could have. Sadly, instruction manuals are still on back order, but will be in soon. Any day now. Really? So, let's go check out those stalls I mentioned earlier. The first stall is right over here by the goat horn shop, where this cute little baby panda will sell you some of Gragore's, that would be me, prize-winning ferns. My ferns are known the world over for their outstanding fern-like quality. $1 will get you 64 anytime you want, day or night. This little guy never sleeps. Now let's scooch on past Marky Sparky's horn shop, if you can call it a horn shop, where we can find this almost cute little guy selling dehydrated bonsais, otherwise known as dead bushes. $1 gets you 32 bonsai goodness. And over here on the other side of the stairwell, we find this over-caffeinated little fiend selling glow lichen. $1 will get you 64 glowy goodies. Right next door, we can find 2 more GGG stalls, with one selling gravity-defying Groots, and the other vines, vines, and more vines. You may be asking, why would anyone even open shops like this? But I say, why not? But fear not, we're not done, for there are 2 more stalls on the other side of the upper stairs. Here we find 2 follically daring salesmen selling, of all things, sea pickles and dangling danglers, which you may have heard called hanging moss. And that, my friends, are all the latest GGG franchise stalls that have opened in recent months. Business has been good. What the? I was only in there a few minutes. Who could possibly have done this in that short amount of time? I don't know for sure, but gut instinct tells me it could only be one person with a penchant for banner changing. One person who just loves to change signs. One person who has no respect for others' signage property. But then, I don't know, it could be anyone. Back to the base! We're back at the base, and I think it's time to start planning for the main project. I've been tossing around ideas in my head, and I keep coming back to doing a flower garden. Now, if you didn't know, a few years ago, I built my first flower garden project, which was to try and turn a painting into a flower garden you could walk around in. This is what the end result looked like. I really like how it came out. And a couple of years later, I tried my hand at something a bit more ambitious as I tried to make the garden look like a 3-dimensional stained glass window. I think this might be the best thing I ever made. I mean, I really like it. So, a couple of years have gone by, and I thought I'd try my hand at another garden. And I don't know why, I just love messing around with flower gardens and how they look on the map mod. I think it's just a more interesting way to try and do pixel art while also making something that looks cool when you see it in person. But before we can do anything else, we have to build some flower farms. So it's off to work we go. So the one lesson I've learned over the years of making flower farms is that it's more efficient to make smaller targeted flower farms than one massive farm that tries to get as many of the flowers as it can. So the plan is to make an allium farm, a tulip farm, a general purpose / orchid farm, which is basically a flower farm mostly on a plains biome but with a little bit of swamp on one corner, and a lily cornflower farm. Now I'm not going to go into great detail on how to make one of these in this video, as I've already made a tutorial years ago. If you're interested, you can find it in the tutorials playlist on my channel. Now the allium farm just happens to be at the top of the hill at my base, so easy access to that one. For the tulip farm, you can go to a flower forest and try and find a small area that grows all 4 tulips, but you'll end up pulling your hair out. You're better off searching plains biomes for those rare patches of tulips. If you find one, then each spot in the farm could grow any one of the tulips, which allows for a much smaller farm, which is what I'm going for. Now, the lily farm is actually a bit frustrating to try and find, especially after the changes made in 1.17, where what flower grows on a block changes with its Y level. Now you pretty much have to have the flower mob to find where these grow. I honestly don't know how I would find them without it, other than, pure luck. Now let me show you what I mean. I found a patch of lilies for my farm, but look how high up I am. I mean, down here on the ground there are no lilies. Now you look at the map in the upper right-hand corner, the color code for it is on the left. You can see there are no lilies. All those whitish-looking flowers are white tulips. See, the important thing to know is that lilies only grow in the center of a cornflower patch. Now, how anyone's supposed to know that without Minecraft Wiki or someone on the internet telling them? I don't know. But anyway, you have to first find a flower forest, then find a patch of cornflowers, then find a circle of white in the center of a patch of cornflowers. That will be where you can farm lilies. So let's climb up the scaffolding so you can see the flower map change. So on the ground level, I didn't even see cornflowers, but luckily I landed on a tree one day and saw one. Then when I climbed higher, the circle of white opened up in the center and voila! We have a viable lily farm. Now normally I would have made this a lily and cornflower farm, but another alpha needed cornflowers a while back, so I made a quickie farm to collect a few shulkers, and now I only need a lily farm. Now I have a new problem. I have a floating farm. What am I supposed to do about that? How about this? Ta-da! Now, normally I'm not one to toot my own horn, and what a silly sounding phrase that is, but anyway, I'm really happy with how this tower turned out. Normally this would be where I would insert a time-lapse video to show it being built, but no such luck on this one. This build was a fight. I think the design changed at least 10 times while I was building it. I just wasn't happy with anything I was building, but I think the battle was worth it because eventually I got to this. This looks good, and considering its one and only purpose is to hide the lily farm I have, a farm I will probably never run ever again, because after 30 minutes of running it, I have 2 shulkers full of lilies. I probably could have saved myself one massive headache and just torn the farm down after use, but where would the fun in that be? Am I right? Sometimes you just have to push yourself and see what you can do. It's a very simple interior, but you just ride the bubble vader up over here and you're ready to start working. Now obviously this isn't the only flower farm I made. Here we have the cornflower farm. I had to build the hill up to meet the farm as it was another one that was up in the air, but this farm was only 6 blocks off the ground, so I raised the hill up to meet the redstone. I think it turned out pretty well. And here we have the orchid/plains flowers farm. Nothing too fancy. The redstone is all hidden underground, so this one looks a lot snugger than the last, but again, it's pretty much a 1 or 2 use farm. Doesn't have to get too fancy if no one ever looks at it. And here we have the pale garden version of the flower farm. Same basic design, but using materials from the area. Again, I like it. I like the design as a whole. The flower farm is well designed, and the block palette seems to work. And here we have the tulip farm. It's okay as a build. This is a case of me trying something different and the design failing. I'm not happy with it, but as I've been saying, it's a one-use farm out in the middle of nowhere. Not only will I never use it again, it's one I'm likely to never see again. So, is it good enough to house some flowers being grown? Yep. And up here at the top of the hill at the base is the allium farm. Same basic design as the other farms, just minor tweaks to the block palette. It is a very efficient farm. If you need to make a flower farm, I cannot recommend this design anymore. It's the only design I use anymore, and it's just because 20 to 30 minutes of AFKing and you have 2 shulkers of the flowers you need. It's a quick build, and then you're done with it. You know what? Let's do a quick time lapse and see what 1 dispenser's worth of bone meal will get you out of this farm. Let me turn the volume down as it gets really loud when this runs. Don't go anywhere. This will be real quick. Can you believe we're actually watching grass grow right now? Don't worry, we're almost done. Okay, that took less than 4 minutes in real time. Let me gather up all the little stragglers and see what we got. So the numbers are in. For 9 stacks of bone meal, we got a little over 17 stacks of flowers and roughly 15 stacks of seeds. That seems pretty good to me. So, like I said, run it for 20 minutes and you'll probably never run it again. And while we're up here, we might as well finish up the little base tour. This build here definitely breaks away from the base block palette, but that's intentional. This is meant to be sort of a central water feature for a village that will, fingers crossed, eventually be up here. I really like this build, and not only is it the water feature, it's actually a small kelp farm disguised as a sauna. Like all my farms, there's nothing flashy about it. It's just big enough to keep me supplied with kelp blocks to do any of the smelting I may need, and since I work mainly from home, my AFK time is virtually unlimited, so none of my farms need to be all that big. And down here at the bottom is the smoke room with a crafter in the floor, crafting all the blocks for me. But I think that's going to be it for today, and I think we covered a lot of ground. I know my base isn't much to look at, but hopefully I'll be able to put some more work into it and turn it into something special. But for now, I have been Gragore, and this has been AlphaCraft. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, always try and find a way to make it fun. See ya.